Yo, this is the Standout Podcast where everyone and anyone could be a standout. And today I got somebody that's directly from right here. We in his backyard. Somebody that's making a lot of noise right now. And somebody that's been really putting in the work for a lot of years. I got Goonie Jay. We're also a special guest, Gasco, in the building. You know what I'm saying? How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Definitely appreciate you having both of us.
No
for sure
problem.
Today. Thank you.
No problem, man. I think it's been an interesting, when I met you at YTH Fest, but I think along the lines, I had a lot of people who used to play your music from Manchester.
Really?
So I was listening to different bits and pieces, you know what I'm saying? And then somebody had let me on, one of my boys I was playing at Charter Oak, they're like, you heard this dude Goonie got this song called Ghost. That shit going crazy. I was like, nah, play it. We had the speakers, we dribbling around the shit. I was like, oh, this shit is different. This shit is different. I got to tap in with them. I got to do something. And then time moves on, man, and eventually you try to figure it out. You try to get somebody on the pod of that. I saw you at YTH Fest. I'm like, I got to talk to this dude and let him know I appreciate him, everything he does. But, for a long time, from what I got to read of, is that rap has been something you really wanted to do, but you waited longer to get into it. Why is that? Why did you wait so long to kind of jumpstart?
I would say professionally, I waited to get into it. So, growing up, like when I was 16, it was either 16 or 17. Right. I was a junior in high school, right?
Right.
Basically, the first time I ever tried to be a rapper was I had ended up talking in the superintendent and the principal into letting me host my own individual concert at school.
Okay.
So we did that for a charity event. Did pretty well. I did that 2 years in a row.
Right.
And then after high school, I was like, I wasn't so appealed to it because it was like, I'm not getting any real money from this.
Right.
At first, you know what I mean? It was like, I'm going to work every day. I'm doing my thing in the street. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And it made more sense to not pursue music professionally. But then after I got in trouble, I went through a long situation and stuff. But after that, when my daughter was born, it was like one of those things where it's like, music has always been the real passion for me.
Right.
It's always been the thing that kind of, kept me almost sane.
Right.
The only thing that was therapeutic to me, the only thing that kept my mind in the right place and kept me the person I am, you know what I mean? No matter how bad or good life was.
Yeah, right.
So after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this thing a shot again. Yeah. Picked up the mic, kind of just started pursuing it the best I could, and here we are. It worked out, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, when you take that hiatus, obviously you mentioned getting in trouble. I know you went to jail, everything. I don't like spotlighting that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But in those moments, I feel like that's where you find the most creativity. So can you tell me the difference between high school Goonie and now, like the difference in music and the way you create and stuff?
Yeah, I would say it's more organic now. Like when you're in high school or when you're young, like, and this is no shot at younger people. Some of the younger artists are better than me these days. You know what I mean? So it's like, but when you're young, you kind of like see things and latch.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Whereas like once you've experienced some things, you've gone through, whether it's a traumatic or positive experience, like once life has molded you into an actual man versus a boy, I feel like that's where the music becomes a lot more organic, a lot more truthful.
Right.
And really, you know what I mean? It comes from the right place.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. I think, as for me, kind of troubling the waters out here in CT, I think the first thing I always thought of was like, how do I get this to prosper? Because we're, in terms of music, we're in a Class C market, right? We don't have a lot of say-so. We don't have a lot of push, a lot of things like that in terms of the market. You've been able to kind of do other things in order to push your brand musically. So did you automatically, when you got out, start thinking, okay, yes, I have music, but how do I maneuver and push this with something else? Like, how do I package it?
That was a long process. So like music, there's no right or wrong for how to do it. And every day I'm still learning. I guess that's the best way to answer your question is like, that I still to this day don't know if I'm doing everything right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not signed to a major. I have no commitment to anybody other than myself musically. So I don't know. I always like to learn, and I feel like there's always room for improvement. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't like a switch. I didn't flick a switch one day and be like, I'm gonna be a rapper now. Right. It didn't work like that. But I'd say like the groundwork and the footwork. I always try to be creative and innovative.
Yeah.
So like one of the things I started doing actually with the gentleman holding the camera right next to your camera, Alex. So we partnered up and started basically bringing famous rappers or celebrities, you know what I'm saying, to our neck of the woods where they weren't necessarily at. I'm from Manchester, Connecticut originally. Like I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm grateful for it. It really molded me into the person that I am.
Right.
So my thing was like, if I want to be, you know, a professional musician when I grow up, that's got to be something that I can show people can really happen. So basically our goal was to like provide not only a platform for other artists to perform and do things like that, but to show people even in your own backyard, you know what I mean, you could chase your dreams or do whatever you need to do. So that, not to circumvent your question, run away from it, but that's really what's kind of put me in the right direction, was always trying to be one step ahead, and not in the sense of like competitive nature, because like I want everybody to thrive. I'm not somebody that just wants to be the big CT artist or any of that. The
gatekeeper.
I'm not a fan of gatekeepers, to say the least. Somebody like me, like I'm more into like the idea of like, let me see something that someone's doing, and then put my own little touch on it and maybe make it a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like a great example would be like the television, right? Invented here. But then once it got to Japan, it was 10 times better of a product.
Totally different product, You know,
and it's not that they stole the technology, it's innovation and doing its own thing. So I'm big on innovation, and I feel like that coincides with my music, because my music is always innovative and growing and changing in nature, you know, each project.
And from what I could tell, you know, unfortunately with innovation comes difficulties in itself. You've run into a lot of problems with, you know, police departments, different venues, things like that, from what I've seen, and you've really tried to push and be like, listen, I'm trying to do something different, trying to do that. Does that sometimes kill your spirit, or does it just light you up more?
I'm so happy you asked that question. Nobody has ever asked that question. That's a great question. So like, first and foremost, let me make sure I answer this right. I don't have any problem with any police departments. I don't support necessarily any police departments by the same token. So I feel like we're all people at the end of the day. And I feel like when you're trying to do something that's right, and sometimes a past action or something that's happened around you puts you in a little bit of a corner in the wall, that can get in your mind a lot. Like that can make you go, do I really want to do this? Like, do I want to keep pursuing this? And I mean, I'll give you two perfect examples. It's like, town of Manchester, like I said, I love it. Everything about it. That's where I'm from. That's the place that means the most to me. But the police department didn't feel that it was safe for me to bring, you know what I'm saying, Joel Santana and Rowdy Rebel here. And I got stuck with a tough task, because it was like, all right, I can either let down everybody that I told, you can chase your dreams, you can make this happen, or I can come out of pocket and really throw myself under the bus and in a hole, to be honest with you, and get this thing done. And those kind of challenges are the hurdles that like people don't necessarily see and people don't necessarily understand. So it's a beautiful thing that you asked that question. But at the end of the day, the goal is to stay pure across the board. So like, if I take that situation and I say, okay, I hate the police, or I have a grudge or a vendetta against the police, right? Now when I go to do a show somewhere else and something goes wrong, my mind's not going to be thinking logically for what's best for my business and my brand. So it's very important to like look at those situations, understand maybe I'm not welcome in this particular area, but don't let it negate everything that you've done and you know, stop the flow. Like we only have our word at the end of the day, and I gave my community my word that I was going to, you know, provide that platform. So at the end of the day, like I sacrificed it to get it done, and we got it done, and I'm grateful, you know.
Of course. You know, and that's another thing about you too, on the other side of Goonie Jay, that I've seen a lot. You do a lot for the community, and you put a lot of emphasis in that. Obviously, you love Manchester, you love that, but what's the reason why that is? Because you don't see a lot of rappers reaching back as much as possible. You see them right now, especially in terms of Connecticut, trying to get as far as they possibly can, and then be like, yo, I'm gonna reach back when I get there.
Because I think like as a kid, like the people who I looked up to never really did that for us. So I guess it was one of those things where it's like, I always thought that would be so cool. Like, what if, and no shot at any particular rapper, but like, what if, you know, 50 Cent came to our school to talk, or what if Lil Wayne came to our school to talk? And like, those kind of things never happen. I'm nowhere on that caliber yet. But the goal is to eventually get there and then keep it in-house kind of. So I feel like over the years, like, it's not just about giving back, it's about providing opportunities, and you know what I'm saying, like basically keeping dreams alive. Like that's more important to me than any monetary thing in the sense of a charity. Like I don't favor one thing or another, like, oh, this person raised more money or this person did this and that. Like my music is basically a story of passion. So anytime I see passion, I like to, put myself attached to that. Whether it's, like I there's another artist, like I'm not going to name drop him because he, you know what I mean? That's not something I would do.
Right.
Great musician. He went through a battle with cancer, and it's inspiring to see that he stands up and does, charitable work for that.
Right.
So if he ever came to me and was like, hey, let's do some charity, like that would be the perfect person I'd like to do something with. And it's like, to get back to your point, like with Manchester and with my community, like it would be dope to just be an example, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's really what I strive for, you know what I mean?
And in terms of leaving a legacy, you sure have done that with your numbers and your music and things like that. Talk to me about, now obviously one of the biggest features I've seen from out of here was the PGF Nuck feature that you got.
Yep.
And you've been pictured with a lot of different people for Goonie Genetics.
Yep.
What's one thing that you could tell people in order to, kind of work in the business and how your business kind of coincides with the music business and how you're able to, negotiate different things?
So, like, I've always liked to look at things like, I watch a lot of videos of people like Grant Cardone and like these kind of people that have like business-minded stuff. Yep. And then I say, okay, like they're selling houses and doing things like that. Right. I'm not into that. I'm into rap music. Right. So how can I implement those same strategies, right? And the same thing that I always see, regardless who it is talking about money, is that you basically have to find value, present value, and then you sell the value. Yeah. So with me, like I started off in the cannabis business basically before I was legitimate, I would say, in the rap business. Right. Right. So I, for a while, was licensed out in Maine. I was doing everything with the medical dispensaries. I was doing a lot of growing, laboratory work, stuff like that. So I basically said, all right, cool. I'm going to go to every meet and greet I can go to, right? I don't need to be the center of attention. Right. But if I present myself properly, this person's probably going to notice me because I'm doing something different. Right. So I basically leveraged that to begin with. And then once I started building those relationships and building my own kind of foundation with my numbers, like you said, right. As the traffic started to balance and the shows started to balance, then it was like, okay, I can leverage my music rather than trying to leverage, the cannabis business. So that's been my big push, I would say. Does it get easier the higher you go, or is it just as easy on a different type of level? Because I hear people who's like, oh, once you become the bigger thing, then it's easier to do. It's like, you could probably do it if you. That's backwards. Right. Like, yeah. Like, keep it a buck with you. It's 100 times harder to work with local people than it's ever been to book a celebrity in my life. Oof. I'm being honest with you. Here we go. Listen, man. It's unfortunate. Like, I've literally booked, we booked now probably 7 celebrities, bro, in the course of doing our business that we do. Right. And I've never gotten to an issue where it was last minute. Right. Oh, I need you to change this for me, or I can't come, or I need this additional money, or this and that. And what I think the biggest thing is like, not to say there's no one professional here. There's a lot of professional, great artists. I just haven't necessarily got the chance to network with them personally in Connecticut. Yeah. So that would be the biggest thing I'd like to see as an artist change. It's like, I'd love to work with people in CT. There's a lot of artists that I think are like incredible musicians. Of course. Like, I have no problem being like, such and such is a better musician than me. Because I write lyrics, you know what I mean? I'm a rapper. I can't even hold a note. Right. So there's people that are more talented than me, and I'm proud to say that. But I'm also proud to say that my work is the best work that I can put out, and it's the best expression of me, and that's why I stand by it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I understand completely. Listen, we had this whole month booked up, and within 2 weeks after, the month was no longer booked up because of what CT artists need, and this is a free service and a free platform. It becomes a lot tougher when you're here and you're trying to maneuver and trying to do things and such things like that. But, obviously I'm going to get to both of you now, with your businesses and how your businesses are moving, Goonie Genetics, your Gasco, how do you guys tend to maneuver in Connecticut, and what are the business acumens here that you try to do locally, like try to keep locally? I'll let you set that one off.
Some of the stuff that I try to keep local here, I try to collab with artists and just get my brand out there. I did a giveaway a few days ago where I gave out some of my pieces to a few artists and just a few people. I was also gonna do a giveaway to some homeless people. Dope. And especially in the wintertime, unfortunately I didn't get the hats I wanted to. So it was gonna be a point where you're gonna be walking to the street, through the street, whatever, and you see somebody with a Gasco beanie that is a homeless person. You know, I just wanted to do that.
Right.
There's gonna be a lot more stuff I'm gonna do as I succeed and reach some sort of success where I can help people. And another thing I've been trying to tell people too, you know, you got your little brand. You know, you got your whatever you're doing. It's important to get an LLC under that. It's important to get an EIN number if you want to reach that level of success, because you know you're gonna reach that barrier where you're gonna be like, you know, I can't really fund myself, but I want to keep this going. I don't want to lose my business. Well, get your business credit, get your bank account. You know, get some type of credit loans so it could build your business, and then from there, you know, you could get that loan that you want and get your store and get promotion, marketing, get people to know. But at the same time, you got to be smart and wise about it, because like my boy just told me before we walked in here, credit can ruin your career. You know, it could put you in a hole where you can't climb out. So, you know,
that's a
great power comes with great responsibility. You know what I mean? I know you heard that in the movie Spider-Man. Great power comes great responsibility. So.
People forget that shit all the time,
I swear that, man.
You know, and another question for you. You know, clothing is a rapidly moving business right now. Every day I look online, there's somebody new on Instagram trying to freak something, trying to stitch something, trying to get some type of new crazy hat. What's the ways that you're trying to be innovative? Are you trying to hit different designers? Are you hitting up different, you know, pieces? What's ways that you're going to try to make the business different?
You know, being different is always on number one on my list.
Right.
But besides that, I really pick my designs. Like sometimes, man, I'll spend days looking at designs, and if that design doesn't touch me spiritually, like you know, I connect with it, I don't want it. You know what I mean? It has to have a meaning behind it. It has, some of my clothes have errors in it, and I leave the errors there because my life, there's errors. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So with that being said, like for example, some shirts have the logo here on the left side.
Right.
I wanted to put it on the right side just because my life ain't perfect. You know what I mean? My life is ups and downs, so why not throw something different? So that's kind of like how I keep it different by doing little things like that. You know?
Yeah. So you know, to both of your points right now, you know, obviously you're both in business out here. You're doing different things out here. What's one thing that you both would like to do in CT that you haven't done yet? Like whether it's a throw something, do something. What's something that you haven't done that you would like to do?
Just want to do something people don't forget.
Right.
For a good reason.
I got you. I like that.
As many times as like, I don't know. Like it's very easy to get noticed for doing like dumb shit, for lack of a better term. Like I could go walk in the supermarket right now and go pour milk all over the ground and scream, and I'm gonna have more views than I might have on some of my songs.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I've seen that real too.
I don't know if y'all seen the Kia Boys documentary.
I'm good with that. But at the end of the day, like this is my thing. Is like I'll never judge another person's hustle or character or anything like that. And especially like right now, like I don't have a ton of media out, so I don't want to throw any shade on anybody. But I'll say this though, like being remembered for something you want to be remembered for here, that would be my goal. So like if 5 more people can wake up before the year's over and be like, wow, Goonie Jay inspired me to chase my dream. I don't care if you're a rapper or if you drive a truck for a living or whatever you do, like that's what I want to do. So like the more of those that we could get, that's really the goal. That's the only thing we haven't done. I mean, sure, we could have bigger events, we could have large scale events, bigger records, but at the end of the day, like leaving a legacy, like you said, I value that. Like I want to make sure my kids go to school and they're like, oh, your dad was cool, not your dad was an asshole. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, how important to you guys is that, you know, having kids and trying to maneuver and trying to, you know, do things for them? I talk to a lot of rappers sometimes that are like, man, I don't know, you know, certain things I do, but I feel like you guys have fully like sprung into that. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, man, I got 7 kids, man. I have 7, and they all live with me. They're all from the same baby mom. You know, I live to inspire them. You know what I mean? I live for them. Everything I do, and it goes back to what he was saying, the whole legacy part. I want to get old, and you know, one day we're gonna pass away, and what am I gonna? I have 5 girls, so like I dread the day that they will have to go to the welfare place and get on food stamps or put their baby father on child support. I don't want that life for them. Like I'm trying my hardest to pave another path for them, that they don't gotta grow up or do the things that I did. You know what I mean? And going back to what he said, I would like to just paint people another picture of me. You know, like because I was a real knucklehead, and if I could paint people another version of me, that version that I never really tapped into, the good person, the helpful person, the kind person, the person that shows mercy, I never really tapped into that side of mine until now, until I got older. So certain people out there that think the worst of me, you know what I mean? And so I would like to just change their mind and show them like, yo, I've changed. This is not the person I once was. Can I help you with something? Do you need help with something? Like, you know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say just to the family point, like, I mean, I literally, like, right now, this is my daughter's mom telling me, hey, Avi wants to FaceTime you. Like, like I have my daughter 5 days a week, and then I got my son 7 days a week, and I live with my son's mom, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm big on family, and I'm big on, like, you know what I mean, like raising your kids properly, because I feel like I was blessed. I'm grateful. Like, I had a great father, I had a great mother. Like, I came from a great household, and like not everybody can say that, but it's like a beautiful thing to see that like more of our generation is picking that up.
Yes.
Because I think that's really what's going to change the world in either a positive or a negative. Is like people like ourselves providing a good example for our kids. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's important.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part, because I know that coming from my father and my mother, I probably wouldn't be here today. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of my cousins in broken homes and shit, and they just cause a wreck outside. It's not, you know what I'm saying?
It's not the easiest.
It's not the easiest, and you're trying to pick up. You know, in terms of everything else, you know, with the music part, with the genetics part, what's one thing in your career you haven't touched yet that you're like, yo, I gotta get to this, because I've done this, I've done that. What's one thing you haven't done?
I want to meet Lil Wayne.
Meet Lil Wayne.
So check, if anybody's listening right now, if anybody's listening, I don't care if you know Lil Wayne, put me on, because Wayne inspired me in ways that like no other person or anything has ever inspired me. So like when I like growing up, like if you look back in my yearbook from middle school, they said I was a little Weezyologist, because I memorized every single word of every single song. Like the way that he like didn't care what people thought of him. Before that was kind of fashionable to do so. I always super respected that and thought that like that was the coolest thing. Like there's pictures like when I was like 11 years old, first time I seen him in concert, I'm crying. Like, and that's the reason I make music, because like I had dark times as a kid and growing up, and I always reflect back to that moment and I say, whoa, like I was in a different headspace here. This is something that made me want to like pursue something. So if I can mirror that, it doesn't have to be the same thing. I don't have to, you know what I'm saying, drink lean and grow dreads to be as influential as Lil Wayne. I could do it in my own way. But like just to meet him would be honestly more valuable to me than like a record deal or monetary stuff. I don't really care about that. It's like I just want to show him like, yo, you created this. You know what I mean? Like that.
Do you ever feel like, you know, obviously there's stuff that you would tell to Wayne and stuff about how influential he is to you. Has anybody ever come up to you and told you how influential you are to them, and like how did you handle that type of thing?
Yeah, like so this is like a tough one. So it's like, because I always try to like, honestly, as wild as it sounds, I try to almost not talk about these because it sounds egotistical, like to an extent when people do this. But like, that's one of those things, bro, that like I've gone home and like actually cried like tears of joy when that happens, bro. Because like people have come up to me before and been like, oh, I was going through a situation where, you know, I was going through a custody battle, or I was not trying to necessarily be alive anymore. You know what I mean? And this song that you put out made me feel like I can do this or I can overcome that. And like that doesn't happen every day. Don't get me wrong. Like I can count on a hand how many times that people have.
And answer real quick, sorry. He has a song, right, that's called Underdog. And he knows how I feel about that song, but now that you're saying that, I want to just give you your flowers now, bro. That song really like gives me goosebumps. And sometimes, like, you don't know this, but sometimes, well, all the time, I seek for music for inspiration, whether I'm down and out or I'm happy. You know, something good happens in my life, I play a song that inspires me.
Right.
Bro, your song does that to me anyway.
Thank you.
Like just the underdog, I'm the underdog. Like coming from where I'm the underdog, bro. Like they would never ever guess that I would even have an LLC. And I sit there in my chair sometimes and I listen to Underdog and I'm like, bro, that song I can honestly has brought tears to my eyes.
Right.
Like, yo, bro, like for real,
like, yeah, bro, that's
fire.
Thank you for that. Like that's the type of stuff where it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know. There's a lot of rappers with a lot more money than me, bro. It's a lot of rappers with a lot more streams than me.
Right, of course.
But like one thing I can say confidently is like, I don't know a lot of people that have, you know what I mean, been in that situation that you just explained. Everything I make with music, I stand on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have positive records. I have negative records. I have records about really every part of my journey.
Right.
And to see that like, I'm not shunned in the urban community and I'm also not shunned in the suburban community. I feel welcome in both. That's been something where it's like, honestly, like that's something I can't say thank you enough to my supporters. You know what I mean? Like, as long as there's enough bread to keep me floating and doing what I need to do,
I got you.
I'm cool with that. I don't need 10 chains and shit, bro. Like,
do you think that'll ever get old though? Because that's the only thing. You know, I did a live podcast.
Yeah.
And they were telling me you're treating it like a rapper just because that adrenaline rush. Do you think that feeling will ever get old when you run out to those screaming fans and start having your music and them going back to you?
Nah, it's like
nothing like
it's like a high. Like it's different. It's different. So like I mean like I don't do a ton of drugs and shit. I smoke weed, you know what I mean? I do my thing. But like I'll say this, like Total Mortgage Arena, for example, right? I did a show with Polo G about a year and a half ago, and like that experience to have like 8,500 people in there like screaming, and they didn't know who I was, but like the way that I brought the energy, it made them hyped up. Yeah. That was like, bro, I've never experienced something like that other than like my children's birth. Like for real. And so it's like, I can't even, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever get tired of that. I mean, I'm sure like maybe if you did it 100 times over, like there'd be things that get annoying, but like if you're waking up every day and doing what you planned on doing and it all worked out, like how mad can you really get? Or how boring can it really get? Yeah. You know,
I think that's another thing too. You know, you've talked about all the stuff that you're trying to do. Obviously, I don't know if you're still at a regular job. Some rappers are. I don't know if you are, but you're not. And that's the best part. How does it feel to be able to live as your own boss and do your own thing?
So all right. So let me give you the double-edged sword of it.
Right.
Like, as we're doing this interview, like, I'm in the best financial position I've ever been in my entire life. Right. If you asked me that question 3 months ago, like when we did the the last event over at Lucky's in Vernon, I didn't even have power on in my house, bro. You get what I'm saying? So like it's like money comes and goes, and it's like if you really love this shit, if you really love what you're doing and you believe in what you say, like you don't just do things for a check. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of opportunities, a lot more lucrative things I could have done or pursued with the music thing. But I think like the way I'm doing it is the way that it makes me literally like feel good to wake up in the morning. Right. And about every action that I've taken so far with it. So I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I don't have to be like super rich. Like I said, as long as I'm all right, and I'm blessed right now. You know what I mean? Things have certainly changed in the past few months, to say the least.
You know, and in those down times, you know, a lot of us sometimes fold and falter and do certain things. You know, you kind of picked yourself back up. You told me you were on a hiatus and things like that. Yep. You know, in those hiatuses and in those down times, how much inspiration comes for that for you to get back into that booth and do the things?
That's really where the hiatus comes from, is because like sometimes I feel like I get disconnected with that. So like I'm not a big algorithm person. Like I used to be a couple years ago. It was like I'm trying to post every 3 days, make sure I'm doing everything perfectly right. But the farther along I got into that, the more I realized it was like almost dehumanizing like the art that I was making. So I started to look at that and say, all right, cool. What do the artists that I like to listen to do? Like perfect example is I like A Boogie a lot. I'm really a big A Boogie fan for like, as far as like when I'm riding in the car and stuff. If I don't need to hear some super gangster shit that day, I'm probably rocking out to A Boogie, right? So when I listen to his music, it's like I don't need to hear a A Boogie song every 2 weeks. Right. Like I wait for his projects because I know he's gonna put a great amount of effort in it. Right. Like you know what I mean? The Carter 3 or any of these Lil Wayne albums, it's like he doesn't need to drop every year because like I know he's actually gonna take the time to make timeless music. Yeah. And I'm like, really not, what I try to pride myself on is I'm not a TikTok rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like,
thank God.
I'm not
Thank God.
I'm not a clickbait rapper. Like, I basically want you to watch the whole image.
Right.
I don't want you to take 15 seconds and enjoy it. Like, I believe in timeless music, and I think that it's gonna make a comeback at some point.
Do you believe with like the, you know, not to nerd it out a little bit, but
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Do you believe with the developments of AI and stuff like that they're trying to go before the camera went off? I asked Goonie, you know, obviously about timeless music. We're talking about timeless music, and I talked about the developments of AI and how hard it is to get to make timeless music. They're literally signing these dudes to single deals nowadays.
Yep.
So tell me, do you think it's gonna get rough sledding as music evolves into this AI new tech type of era?
Yeah, it's always going to be tough, but like at the end of the day, like it depends what your goal is with music.
Right.
If your goal is to be, you know, the number one,
Right.
it might be too tough to get that done without like help nowadays. But if your goal is just to like get your message out and make a living, like I think it's easier than ever to do that because there's a lot of people that want that human attachment to their music. So like with AI, like one thing that's challenging for me on it is like, we hinted on it before when we were talking about like the humanistic aspect of stuff and things, right? Like, I don't know, like I believe that like my music sounds the way it does because of my engineer, because of my beat maker.
Right.
Not necessarily just because of me, but every human that's a professional at what they do plays a role. Yeah. Whereas like when you look at AI, like I feel like everything AI does is good, but none of it's great. You know what I mean?
That's 100% true.
So it's only like it's only gonna get in the way so bad. Like where I see a problem with it is like I'm a huge Drake fan, right?
Right.
I'm a huge Drake fan. Before I say this, so like hopefully this shit doesn't get me blackballed, but I'm gonna just say it. Like I don't care, because at the end of the day, like no matter, Drake had the W. He had the better diss in my opinion for like what was going on. But like making Tupac now back into a human, like. That's, in my opinion, it's a weird thing because it's like when you notice that the whole music industry is kind of revolting against this, and you're already winning, it's an interesting dynamic, and I'm not a fan of that, to say the least.
And just considering how big he is, he's kind of opening the door for a lot of different shit.
What allows it to happen, because when you look at like Drake, in my opinion, is probably the most influential current artist, right?
Exactly.
Like tough to argue otherwise, right? So. When Drake did the dance hall thing, it kind of boosted that market.
Right.
When Drake did the drill thing, it boosted that market. Like I can't say anything negative about Drake being attached to anything, but where that becomes scary is like when all the artists are still kind of like not necessarily getting the voice and the platform that they want. Right. Then you co-sign the AI. It's like, is that the next thing that's gonna blow up like that way? You know what I'm saying?
And that's where it gets rough and tough sledding, because now we're looking at the CT music scene, and when the higher ups start doing this shit to where they commodify shit, where the fuck do we fit in the food chain? Where the fuck do we go? So, you know, I think with all that being said, you know, you said you like to make timeless music. What's, you know, I'm not gonna ask you about your whole creative process, but what's one thing that you know that when you listen back to that and the speakers and the bigs, that it needs to be a certain type of way? Is there like a Goonie type of special that it needs to be? Like what's something about your music that you know like it has to be this way?
Like, all right, so like perfect example would be, let's say if I'm like doing a promo for something, right? Or like somebody says, hey, I need you to come up with like a little jingle for this or that. Like, it's a lot tougher for me to be like, that has the Goonie sound, because like it's kind of premeditated and it's like been coached. I would say like the thing that tells me it has the sound is when like I didn't need any coaching and I feel good about the rough product. And then when I go show the rough product to like 3 or 4 different people that don't like rap music, and they're like, oh, this is all right. Then I show it to the people that like rap music and they're like, whoa, this is really good. That's where I kind of know like
the people.
But like I feel like you got, like me personally, I might create like, I mean, Alex sees it all the time. I might write 100 songs, you know what I mean, and record 5 or 6 of them. It's just like it's really a preference and changes thing, you know what I mean?
Definitely. I think I'm gonna take it down to the last 2 questions. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I think for both of you, you know, right now CT is a place, they say we don't have any support, we don't have different outlets, different things like that. What's one way, you know, in terms of CT that you wanna, you know, kind of excel support and just kind of help within CT to kind of make things happen and help within your brand? How it's all gonna circle back together, basically.
So all right, cool. So I'll give you a special announcement.
Right.
Actually.
Okay. There we go.
I'm about to give him the special announcement.
I kind of let him into that one.
So like, my thing with like actually repeat your question because I want to make sure I answer it as perfect as I can.
So what are you doing to support CT? Basically?
So I'm going to give you 3 different types of ways that I'm trying to support CT. And I want to challenge all the other artists out there to outdo me.
All right.
Because I believe you can do it. I believe a lot more of y'all have a lot more resources than you're using. So I want to see you outdo me.
All right. Oh, shit. Okay.
So, first thing that we started with last year was the opening act slots that I was doing, right? Perfect. Those, yes, I charge. Let me be clear, I charge. But the reason I charge is because I allow profit margins on the tickets. So I pride myself on being one of the few people in Connecticut that when I do a show, if you sell out of the tickets that you buy, you will actually be paid to perform. It's not a pay to play. So that's one way I like to give back. I also want to do, you know what I mean, more free, you know, kind of like, not karaoke, but like open mic type shit.
Gotcha.
Like, that stuff would be great, but like I really want to be able to have artists be able to get some money in their pockets from hitting the stage with me. That's something that's important to me.
Right.
Number 2, regular charity and youth charity, that's important to me too. So giving back and things like that. Like Alex and I, we did a 100 backpack giveaway last year.
Fucking dope.
We also went to talk to the kids over at MHS just to kind of give them a rundown what we do and tell them, you know what I mean? Like you can chase your own dreams. It's possible. Do what you want to do no matter what. Don't give up.
Right.
The third thing, this is the big one. So growing up, it was tough to like get around and figure out where I'm going to go and how I'm going to get to my next business meeting and things like that.
Right.
So we're going to be giving away a vehicle to an entrepreneur that's in need. Now, the only stipulation that we have is basically going to be you cannot own a vehicle already. So if you own a car, you have to give it to somebody else. Now, that being said, admission for this event is going to be free. Everything across the board. Any business
That's love.
That's love.
We're not done yet. Any business that wants to participate in this event, there will be no vendors fees. There will be no commissions, anything like that. You keep 100% of your profits.
Come on, man.
I don't have a date yet for this. Just bear in mind.
Right.
Any artist that wants to perform, we do have the vehicle. Everything's locked in though, so we got everything good to go.
I got you.
But I would say next 90 days, keep an eye out for this. Any artist that wants to perform, I don't care if you have 1 follower or 1 million followers. It's free. You will get the same amount of time as everybody else, and you will have an opportunity to perform in front of real live people. And I'm not going to take your money. That's the big event that I've been kind of holding back and not saying anything about. That's why I've been keeping a hiatus because it's not to outdo anybody or say, hey, we're doing more. But at the end of the day, like I pride myself, like I said, on like, you know what I mean, being an example. And the only way to change the world is by doing things that you want to see happen. I'm tired of paying for shows, pay to plays. Luckily now I get paid to play. I got tired of paying for that shit. That's why we started hosting shows. Resources, like it sucks when you don't have a car. Let's make an entrepreneur be able to get around and get their job and get their shit done. You know what I mean? So on my end, that's kind of what I got cooking up to give back to Connecticut. So I look forward to announcing that date to you guys soon. Really, it's just venue stipulations that we're running into. I guess so this is crazy, but I guess when you like have people throw their name in a hat, it's gambling. So right now we're trying to figure out state law wise where it's compliant, how we could do that in a way where it's because they're not paying money, how we can get that done. But as soon as we get that resolved, we're going to be doing that event. So if y'all see anybody else do it too, just remember who did it, who said they did it first.
So documented.
We
have it on the file.
I didn't share that with nobody, not a soul, because my thing is like, it's been a while since I was able to make people go, whoa. I'm like,
I'm pretty sure they saying whoa right now.
So what you doing, bro? What you doing with Gasco?
Gasco, what I'm doing for the people right now, you know, it's not much, but I'm trying to do something. I'm in the process of building. So what I do right now to support CT, I share a lot of artists from Connecticut. I share them on my page. And yo, just that little bit of love of you sharing and liking their posts, bro, it goes a long way because, you know, you got artists out here that are nice, that'll put a reel out, you know, a clip of whatever song they're putting in. Their own family don't support them, don't hit that like button, don't share. You know, it don't cost you nothing to just do this, you know what I'm saying? So you see somebody that don't know you, don't know who the hell you are, share your stuff. Your first thought in your head is, oh shit, I might have a fan. You know what I mean? It makes them feel good about the work that they're putting out. So for now, that's kind of like what I've been doing. But trust me, I'm gonna do a lot more stuff as I progress. I love, so that's a passion of mine. Like, my girl gets mad at me for giving dollars at homeless people. She's like, stop giving so many dollars.
I've been there.
It's only $1. You know what I mean? It's only $1, but it's like, yo, I love to support. I love.
That could have went to my new shoes. It's like, look, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, but nah.
You know, and so this is my favorite last question. I ask this for everybody. Obviously, you're Goonie Jay to the people, you're Gasco to the people, but the person away from those things. What is something you want to work on personally this year that you haven't been able to work on personally? Like whether it's at home, what gym journey, I don't know, something like that. What's something in terms of that you want to work on?
I say confidence, bro.
Confidence,
yeah,
I got
you.
you.
So like, it's crazy because like I'll say the most comfortable place I am is on stage, but like if I'm like one-on-one, I still get very nervous, like to have new interactions, but not in the sense of like, oh, this guy's gonna beat me up or some shit like that. But in the sense of like, it's still like my heart goes a little bit like, if I'm like, even for walking into here, right? It's like I know you're cool people, but I'm sitting here, my heart's going. I'm like, yo, what's he gonna ask me? I'm breathing heavy, not sure what. But then it's like you sit down, you're good to go. Like I want to work on that, like kind of being able to be myself quicker with people, rather than putting up such a shell all the time.
Yeah,
that's my big goal.
I got you. What about you, man?
Repeat the question.
So just what do you want to work on personally?
Oh, okay, so personally, it's crazy because the past month I've been working on my health. Kind of trying to eat better, less processed foods, frozen foods. I've been taking vitamins. I just got on the started taking sea moss.
Perfect. That's
just trying to better my health, man. Less smoking. I've been trying to get off vaping. I've been trying to get to the gym. And I say trying because, like, I say it to myself, but I don't do it. But I'm going to keep saying that because eventually I'll do it.
Right.
So health to me right now is everything. Just with my age, I'm getting older. Yeah. So that's what I've been working on.
Yes, sir. Listen, to both of you, it's been a pleasure. Goonie, this has been a long time in the making, man. I thank you. I thank you for doing what you're doing for CT. And every time I see you, you're always trying to bring light and always trying to bring something to the state. And these are the type of people we want down here.
Thank you for
that.
You know what I'm saying?
And just keep pushing with your music, everything you're doing for Connecticut. Something wild. Goonie Genetics, Gasco, the whole nine. Listen, man, this has been a standout podcast. Standout. And this is your boy Austin Santiago, the boy Gasco, the boy Goonie Jay. Where can they follow y'all?
Sir. Real Goonie Jay on all streaming platforms, Instagram, Spotify, all that good stuff. The Gasco. Drip down right here by the Gasco. Hold
Make sure you go buy it. Yeah, I got you.
Follow me at Hayes Can Grow LLC.
Hayes Can Grow. All right.
Yeah.
You got the fit right there. That's hard right there.
You see the flames on your fire. Let's go, baby.
Yes, sir. Listen, 805 Hartford Road. Come get your braids, your haircut, and your podcast all in one. We're trying to make a music studio very soon. We don't know what the hell's going on here, but we're going to figure it out. Shout out to my boy Nico, OTKJ, the whole gang. And you already know what it is. It's Austin Santiago with the Standout Podcast.
Sir.